Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Super Saturday Nostalgia. I am the Athletic Geek, and I'm joined once again by the Animiester.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going. And we are in the world of X-Men now with the episode Deadly Reunions, and we are watching this on the classic DVD. So if you'd like to follow along with us, go ahead and fire up your DVD player, or if you're lucky enough to have this on a streaming service, go ahead and fire it up and press play now. Previously on X-Men, because, well,
every episode has this.
Yes. And it could be like 3 episodes ago that they, And there's Sabretooth.
Okay, nice.
And just
There's such a contrast to Batman the Animated Series, because this one's like overly muscular.
overly muscular.
More comic booky.
Yes.
90s comic book.
But, like I said before, I like my X-Men this way. I don't like my X-Men, or I shouldn't say I don't like my X-Men like any other way, but like whenever I think X-Men, I think the gritty, badass 90s X-Men. Like, this is what I think of. Oh, and here's that theme song.
This is one of my top favorite intros of all time.
Cyclops is a bitch. Wolverine's a badass.
Agree to disagree. I do like Cyclops.
Their rogue is really awesome. So Storm. Beast is really cool, and here is my favorite. It's Gambit, and then Jubilee. Jean Grey's really cool. Professor X is the man. These guys gonna kick some ass. Maybe. X-Men. Like, that is just 90s right there.
Yes.
So you're a Cyclops fan. I wouldn't have had you on the show if we would have had that irreconcilable difference.
I do enjoy Cyclops. I don't agree with some of the choices they've made with him in the past, 10 years.
Right.
I do like Cyclops.
Well,
And I think partially it's from this show I like Cyclops.
Right.
He's a nice contrast to Wolverine.
Oh, I mean, I get it, but it's just kind of like, I just don't care. I went from just not hating him, I didn't like him, but he's just kind of like, he's the not cool person of the X-Men, to essentially becoming just so unlikable. And it was even before, he essentially became Magneto Part 2. Even in the Schism story arc, where you got to see Wolverine grow as a person. You got to see him as Wolverine. It's in the comic books. We're kind of getting sidetracked off of this. Professor X inside the head of this is really cool. Yeah.
Okay.
This is really. It's kind of like a. I always really like it when you actually get to see what Professor X sees when he reads your mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get a lot of cool art and a lot of leeway with stuff, and you're kind of
almost some Doctor Strange level.
Yeah.
Out of a comic.
Yeah. Especially if they go on the astral plane or something like that, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's
Speaking of, what are your thoughts on Sabretooth?
I feel like he's a good contrast to Wolverine. He's not my super duper favorite villain where I'm like, oh my god, Sabretooth episode or Sabretooth comic book, sign me up. But it's still kind of oh, this might be cool.
I always found him a cheap kind of rip-off of Wolverine.
I would say I wouldn't go.
Not a rip-off,
me
but
personally, I wouldn't go that far. But
I don't know. I've never been the big Sabretooth fan.
I've never loved, but I feel like he was a good contrast to Wolverine. Wolverine, the X-Men have a visceral, badass, animalistic guy, and so does the Brotherhood. So I feel like he filled a role.
Mm-hmm.
But back to what we were saying earlier, in the whole storyline of the comic books, as Wolverine grew and matured, you know, I mean, he was still always Wolverine, but when as he became a good teacher and a good leader, Cyclops turned into an egotistical piece of trash. And yeah,
I remember liking him in like Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men, and I liked him in like Messiah Complex. And
I haven't read that actually.
Oh, I recommend it. I like that kind of storyline. It kind of deals with the fallout from No More Mutants.
Oh, okay. And then I feel like, you know, in Avengers versus X-Men, it started out with Cyclops being like, he was doing the wrong thing for all the right reasons, doing the wrong thing for all the wrong reasons. And I guess that's part of just his false story arc, was he was just kind of like, he went from, we need the Phoenix because we want more mutants, and the Avengers are like, we've seen the Phoenix, we're not going to let that happen, and then it kind of became a clash, and then the rest of the X-Men didn't even want to be around him either. The best issue of that arc was the Spider-Man issue.
Rogue.
Oh, Rogue is without question my favorite female superhero, heroine, whatever you want, whatever the correct, you know, least offensive verbiage for that would be. I just think she's really cool. I always thought Rogue was cool.
Her power set is one of the more interesting ones.
And also helps that probably my favorite, she was the, you know, love interest of one of my favorite X-Men characters, so.
I'm not as big of a Gambit fan. I do appreciate him though. I like in
I just always thought, like, as a kid, God, he's so cool. I wish I could be that cool.
I don't know if you've seen like Wolverine and the X-Men.
I've seen episodes. I've never seen the whole thing. I mean, we when we get through this very, very long series, you know, we might get to that one.
I do like whenever Gambit pops up in that one. He's like in 2 brief appearances, but they're two of the more fun parts of that show.
Right. So we have essentially, you know, it's the introduction of Sabretooth, but it's also essentially they've introduced Magneto, and Magneto's still going to be around being all kinds of an asshole.
Jubilee's like the stock character who's supposed to be like, oh, this is you as the audience.
Yeah. Well, and this is, to me, I guess this is where maybe they came up short in this. Look, I'm not knocking Jubilee. I know she's got her fans, and I don't hate Jubilee, but it's just kind of like they really tried to get me to relate to her with her being a teenager and everything like that, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to, you know. Whereas, and granted, Robin wasn't in every episode of the animated series. Whereas Robin was created for you to see yourself through Robin, and I did as a kid. Or where, like in you know, you're supposed to kind of. They had a lot of inner monologue in the Spider-Man show, you know, where you're supposed to see yourself through Spider-Man, and then
I think with Jubilee the issue is like she talks in such a dated fashion now. Like,
right.
You look back at like a '90s show. Another one I'm thinking of is like, do you remember like Quack Pack with the Huey,
yes.
Dewey, and Louie? Like, how did they?
Excuse me, fans.
Totally gnarly, man.
Yeah, like but not in the endearing way like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's not like. Yeah, like hers though is kind of that. That's what it reminds me of, where she's just that. And I do like Jubilee in some comics. She stands out in this series as a weak point to me.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
I think her powers are interesting, but
I guess another reason I don't like Jubilee is my friend JC.
he was a little
on the. Claustrophobic. She don't like that. Can't get close to something. You're all right about that. But That's completely. Oh, JC, when we were playing X-Men Legend, always wanted to be Jubilee, and she was so weak on the game.
I love that game.
I love that game, but like, no, don't be Jubilee.
I haven't. I used to rent that from the video store all the time and play that. I never got to
I don't
own
have
it.
my PS2 anymore, but I believe I still have that game. Just because I'm like, I want to get rid of that just in case. I
have a PS2 still. I just don't have the game. I'd like to play that one.
Well, you know
that
what?
might be a thing.
That might be something. If we can get a PS2 and a capture card, and we might have that. We might have to DNG with that. See if we can get Fathead and whoever else on board with that, and we can just play our way right through it. And I will concede for that game, so everybody knows I'm not just being a complete player hater. Gambit was weak on that game too, but I didn't care. So I guess fair point on JC.
I never understood Cyclops' little oh, hey, that's interesting. Utility belt and underwear look from the 90s.
Yeah, everybody had their underwear on the outside, just
Superman style.
Yeah,
But
Batman.
Batman did too. Oh, nice little
That's
show of
cool.
her powers.
But I did think, I guess I'm different. I always thought that the utility belt was cool. I just wish I would have actually seen him use it, pull something off like, okay, hey, I'm going to do this. I mean, I know like the big thing on his chest, that's a communicator, but like if he would have actually like pulled like a bomb or pulled like, something to be used out of the pouches.
I like to kind of, like, it's the 90s, so every superhero had like excess like buckles and like pouches for stuff they never used.
Yeah, that is the Rob Liefeld style of gotta love how even in Deadpool they took shots at Rob Liefeld's art style.
Yeah. I do appreciate that this one kind of goes off the Jim Lee version of the X-Men
Yes.
that was popular at the time.
Oh, Jim Lee's awesome. I love Jim Lee. He's probably like Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, Jason Aaron are kind of like some of the and Mark Millar are like the last like remaining Holy Grail comic book people for me to meet. I've met Stan Lee, I've met Scott Snyder too. Throwing Scott Snyder. I've met Greg Capullo, I've met Neil Adams, met Chris Claremont, met George Perez. Unfortunately, not going to be able to meet Darwin Cook but those are the four like living like, okay, those are my guys I got to meet.
Say you've met a few more than I have. I'm still hoping to get to meet Chris Claremont. He's one of the top ones on my list. Oh, yeah. Jim Lee I would like to meet too.
Jim Lee's up there, yes.
Oh, okay, going.
Now he's got the helmet on. What the fuck? I mean, I apologize again. This is Super Saturday nostalgia. There might be some kids watching. I apologize for that word, but what the freak? He's got his helmet on. He's not supposed to be able to get in his head. This is an error. This is a big error.
Kind of a watered down shot of the Holocaust there too. That was of course, kids show, you can't.
Yeah. Kids show, it's like if you really, like, knowing what that means, you're like, oh my God. Are we watching the right episodes? This looks very, very eerily similar to the Inter-Magneto episode. What is that?
This show also, like, I've heard, I don't know if you watched the original, like, Transformers or Thundercats.
Very little, but, I mean, like, I watched it was on TV, but, like, I haven't, like, you know what I mean?
Like, the nostalgia is hitting me, like,
right.
I remember watching the Gen 1 Transformers, and it's like, oh, yeah, but then you watch it, and it's like, there's not a lot of action actually going on in these episodes. A lot of, it's just a lot of kind of basic movement, like...
Now this is very very topical. You have the president, not wanting mutants to register. You have the senator who wants, like, it's still... This is stuff that, like, it doesn't matter what era you grow up in. There's always something kind of, like, issue with people, whether it be, right now with needing to register guns, whether it be, illegal immigrants or
rights of certain groups.
Certain rights groups, whether, then it was based off of the civil rights of African Americans. But immigration, legal, illegal immigrants, everything has their kind of conflict here.
It said this is reminding me of like Clockwork Orange. He's tied to a chair, and she has the news on. Just her out, the '90s outfits of the X-Men.
Hey, I'm trying. My goal. I mean, I'm kind of dating my reference here. My goal is if I go, we're filming this in the fall. Mm-hmm. My goal is to, with the exception of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, to really watch what I eat and drink. I mean, there'll be a few cheat meals every now and then, but really watch what I eat, because I'm trying to lose the weight I put on after, kind of a bout of mental health issue, to be able to pull off. I wanted my big cosplay I want to do is I want to do Wolverine, like the 90s Wolverine, but I don't want to have the mask. I want to be like he's got his mask off, so I can have like my hair spiked out in the beard, but then just have like the rest of my outfit be Wolverine.
Okay.
And I've gotten leaned out for conventions in the past, but this is going to be a taller order, just because I got frustrated with my plateau and weight loss, and then said, well, now I'm depriving myself of yummy beer, so I started just drinking more beer, and then I realized that, oh, hey, wait a minute, I was doing good. I just drank too much beer. Oh.
And she makes the mistake of letting the bad guy go.
I mean, but this is actually something I can appreciate, because it is kind of like the whole, like, Jubilee wanting to see the good in people. As a kid, you want the bad guys to turn good. You want to be friends with the bad guys, especially one that kind of is cool, like Sabretooth, who's been through so much. But sometimes sometimes bad people are just bad people, and they can have a sob story, and they can tell you how bad everything is and how they want to change, but sometimes they don't want to change, they just have a bad...
True.
They like having the bad life because it lets them be manipulative, and that's kind of what happened with... I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's just kind of like Sabretooth. And kind of, isn't it perfect that Wolverine's coming to save Jubilee? It's funny.
It's funny how he always gets the connections with, like, the younger
because it's like in X-Men Evolution, it was Kitty.
Well, and even in the comics, it's Kitty, first of all.
Kitty and Jubilee, they both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, but then in in the X-Men movies, it was Rogue. Because she was the young lady. True. And they weren't nice enough to give us a good Gambit. Even though he was the best part of X-Men Origins.
I was going to say, I actually do like him as Gambit. I think he's...
Oh, no, I thought Taylor Kirsch was a great Gambit. I thought that was I thought his part of the movie was the highlight of the movie. But that being said, it's just like...
I have a friend who, he will, no doubt, state that they, butchered Gambit in that movie, and he hates that. I'm like, to me, he looks the part. He has, not the accent, of course, but, he has that kind of southern charm going on with the, maybe too long of a hair. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the biggest Gambit fan, but...
His appearance didn't know. I thought the only thing that, It was really just a matter of, I could tell that was just fan service. Mm. Hey, look, they're getting more coffee like I want to right now. And there's Rogue wearing a pair of...
blinders.
of Cyclops' glasses. His very, very 90s glasses. I did think it was cool how in the X-Men movies, Cyclops wore, because... Back then, that was kind of the style, the red framed Oakley glasses. So the fact that he's wearing something like that's kind of okay, that's cool,
Well, I bought my first pair of Oakleys, actually. They had the red tinted ones, and I was like, do I want these and to be people calling me Cyclops? But I've noticed we haven't seen a lot of the cast though this episode.
Yeah, I mean we haven't seen Jean, we haven't seen Gambit,
Beast.
Beast.
Oh yeah,
Beast for all is in jail throughout this season. You know, one of my other Storm's been around. But I think if I were to, and I might be giving away something because I'm, top 10 video, lists are kind of big for YouTube channels. If I were to kind of put out my top favorite X-Men, it'd probably be Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Beast, Storm, Psylocke, only because I like playing her on X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So have a little soft spot for Psylocke there.
See, she's one of my favorite X-Men, and I'm kind of... Olivia Wilde did okay, but I feel like we still haven't gotten...
Olivia Munn, you mean?
Oh, Olivia Munn, not Wilde, sorry. I always mix those two up.
See, I disagree. I feel like Olivia Munn seems like a nice person. Mm-hmm. And, when she was on Attack of the Show, she seemed like a really nice person.
Dramatic shot.
But, we've been ignoring all this. But I don't feel like she could act, so I feel like they played to that in Apocalypse by not letting her talk very much.
I didn't think
And that's...
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode. We kind of went on tangents, but hey, let's see some of the X-Men that you didn't see on this.
I will say Jean's 90s outfit is one of my favorite looks for her. I do like...
And Gambit, it's 90s, but it's still...
That's always his costume.
Yeah.
Beast.
This is always I've pointed this out. This is always my favorite part. At the very end of it, you get to... And... Yep, no Jubilee, because no one cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Well, we got off onto a little of a tangent, but...
That's what this is about. We're just talking comics, and...
Actually, the first time I've seen this show in... I want to say like 10 or 15 years, so... Animation-wise, it holds up. It's a little...
It's the gritty 90s X-Men. It's what I love about the X-Men. I will concede that probably Wolverine and the X-Men is a better overall show, but this is probably right underneath it. Not necessarily because so much that it's that close to being good, but it's just kind of like, look... But it's also not necessarily because of nostalgia, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like when the X-Men became the X-Men, it was the 90s, and it was all these tropes.
Mm-hmm, true.
And while those tropes don't hold up with other characters like, Spider-Man quite so much, or like they don't really hold up with Superman as much anymore, or Batman anymore, they still kind of work with the X-Men. Granted, you can't go completely in this direction, but they still sort of work.
True. And also, like, if you think of X-Men in animation, this is the show most people will point to.
At least, if for nothing else, the theme song. Mm-hmm. If for nothing else, the theme song.
I'm still crossing that when they get introduced into MCU, kind of like with Spider-Man, when that Marvel Studios logo pops up, they better be having an orchestrated version of this song.
That would be awesome.
I'd be like money worth there.
I would go see it then, because I did not go see Dark Phoenix. And
I waited till Redbox.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it yet, so sorry y'all if you like that. But thank you very much for joining us. If you enjoyed this video and our tangents, please, give this video a like, give it a share, subscribe for more content, not just from the world of comic books and superheroes, but I have content from the world of anime, gaming, pro wrestling, and all things geek culture. Go follow me on all my social medias. Go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. Follow me on Twitter at athletic_geek89. And go follow me on Instagram at athleticgeek89. Animiester, anything?
Well, I'd like to say thanks for having me again. It's been fun.
All right. We will see you next time with more Super Saturday Nostalgia. Have a good one.
See you guys.